One ignored noise can become a $2,000 gasket job or a $10,000 engine. Some repairs snowball 10 times in cost, and most drivers miss the decision point by weeks. Today, I'll show you 5 early clues your car whispers before your wallet screams. We're talking small slips, subtle ticks, and a barely there burning smell, each paired with the real price tag if you wait. Fix the $100 problem now, or fund a major component later. Number 1, engine overheating / blown head gasket. A sweet, syrupy smell and a creeping temp needle. Most drivers crack a window and keep going. That smell can be a $50 coolant top-up or a $10,000 engine. Overheating is the fork in the road, and a failing head gasket sits right there waiting. Your car leaves clues before it melts down. The temp gauge climbs under load or on hills. The heater blows cold at idle, then warms when you rev it. You see a puff of white exhaust on cold start that clears. Or the overflow tank bubbles, like it's boiling after a drive. Any one of those is a warning that coolant and combustion have started mixing. The trap is the on-again, off-again behavior. Coolant vanishes with no puddle, the fans spin. And once you cool it, the car drives fine. That false calm convinces people to wait for a dramatic overheat before acting. And by then, the damage is underway. Here's what's happening inside. The head gasket seals 3 worlds: combustion pressure, engine oil, and coolant. When it fails, hot combustion gases blast into the cooling system, pressurizing it and pushing coolant out. With less coolant circulating, heat control collapses. Modern aluminum heads don't tolerate that. One solid overheat can warp the head surface or start a crack. Repairs climb fast because of labor. A head gasket job often lands around $1,853 to $2,149. Delay it, and you risk a warped head, a cracked casting, or a seized engine, which puts you in the $7,000 to $10,000 range for engine work. Catch it early, and the fixes are simple. Pressure test the system, replace a weak cap, swap a stuck thermostat, a radiator fan relay, or a small hose. Keep driving hot, and the failures stack in minutes. Number 2, transmission slipping or delayed shifting. You press the gas, the revs jump, but the car hesitates. That slip is the sound of money leaving your wallet. Here's what slipping or delayed shifting looks like in real life. The RPM flares between gears. Engagement feels harsh instead of smooth. Reverse takes a beat before it grabs. At low speed, the car shudders, like it's unsure which gear it wants. On automatics, a hot, burning clutch smell after a drive is a red flag you don't ignore. The calm at first is misleading. No dashboard light. The car still moves, and you tell yourself it's old age or bad fuel. Meanwhile, the root problem gets hotter, and that heat accelerates the wear that takes the unit down. Heat is the enemy here. Low or burnt fluid can't protect clutch packs, so friction material sheds and turns the fluid into abrasive sludge. That debris clogs solenoids and sticks valves, while excessive temperature can warp a valve body. On modern units, dirty fluid also scrambles the TCM's adaptive logic, so it learns the wrong shift behavior and compounds the issue. This is the price split. A proper fluid service and filter change runs a few $100s. Ignore it, and you're looking at a rebuild or full replacement, commonly $4,000 to $5,000 and more when removal requires extra labor. Watch for early tells. Pull the dipstick. Metallic glitter means hard parts are shedding. Fluid that's brown or black is burnt. Delayed engagement first thing in the morning points to worn seals and low pressure. Smart early checks include scanning shift timing data, dropping the pan to inspect debris, and running line pressure tests. Number 3, brake pad wear, leading to rotor and caliper damage. That faint chirp when you brake is a built-in alarm. Ignore it, and you'll pay for more than pads. Those wear indicators scrape the rotor on purpose to grab your attention. Early cues show up fast. A light squeal at low speeds. a longer distance to stop, and a pedal that pulses because hotspots have started to warp the rotors. That's the cheap stage. Wait, and the noise turns from chirp to grind, because the friction material is gone and the backing plate is now doing the stopping. Here's where the bill grows. Metal-on-metal contact gouges deep grooves in the rotor, making it too thin or too uneven to machine. Heat skyrockets and travels into the caliper. Fluid trapped in the caliper can boil, so the pedal goes soft or sinks on hard stops. Dust boots around the piston cook and crack, letting in moisture and rust. Pistons then stick, pads drag, and the neck set wears out in weeks. Debris from the grinding can even take out nearby ABS sensors. Costs scale with every mile you wait. Pads and rotors typically land in the $300 to $800 per axle range. Let calipers seize, and you add $400 to $1,000 or more per side. If the abuse continues, damaged brake lines or ABS components push the repair into four-figure territory. That's a simple maintenance job turned major. Visualize 2 repair paths. Path 1, pad swap, fresh rotors, quick bed-in, done. Path 2, stuck slide pins, torn dust boots, uneven pad taper, and a piston that won't retract. Now you're buying a caliper and doing a full fluid flush to clear overheated, moisture-laden fluid. Number 4, timing belt or chain wear causing engine failure. A faint ticking at idle that speeds up with the engine. Harmless? On timing belts and chains, that tick can be a countdown. Here's the split. Belts are maintenance items with set intervals. You replace them as a kit: belt, tensioner, idlers, and often the water pump. Chains are built to last, but depend on healthy oil pressure and good lubrication to keep the tensioner and guides working. Early cues show up around the timing cover. A light tick that follows RPM, rough cold starts, random misfires, and metal shavings in the oil that hint a guide or chain is shedding material. The scary part is how normal the car can feel until it doesn't. On an interference engine, a broken belt stops the cam while pistons keep moving. In milliseconds, valves bend, pistons scar, and the top end gets hammered. That quiet tick goes silent, and the repair bill explodes. Preventive thinking saves thousands. A scheduled belt service commonly runs about $598 to $773 and includes the tensioners and water pump, so you're not paying labor twice. Chains fail for different reasons: low oil, dirty oil, weak tensioners, or cracked guides. Ignore those, and timing can jump teeth, bending valves and scuffing cams. At that point, you're pricing headwork or a replacement engine. Here's the money reality. Once timing fails, costs leap into the thousands. Severe damage often lands in the $7,000 to $10,000 range for an engine when the top end is beyond repair. That's the penalty for deferring a routine belt or skipping oil care on a chain. Number 5, oil leaks that lead to engine bearing damage. A quarter-sized oil spot under the car looks minor until the low-pressure light flickers on a freeway ramp. Most leaks start in familiar places. Valve cover gaskets seep and drip onto hot exhaust, leaving a burnt oil smell after parking and sometimes a faint smoky wisp under the hood. Oil filter housing seals harden and weep. The front crank seal can sling oil across the belt area. Down low, oil pan gaskets sweat along the rails. At the back, a rear main seal lets oil escape between engine and transmission. None of these looks dramatic at first, which is why they get ignored. Topping off sounds safe, but it hides the real risk. When oil leaks, the level drops, air mixes in, and the oil can foam. In corners or on ramps, the pickup uncovers and pressure dips. Bearings that count on a steady film lose their cushion for a split second. Do that often enough, and damage stacks up, even if the dipstick shows okay later. Bearings live on hydrodynamic lubrication. A thin, pressurized oil wedge keeps the crank and rods from touching. Starve that film, and the metals meet. First comes a dull rod knock under load, then silvery glitter in the oil, and soon a crank that needs machining, or an engine that needs replacing. Costs split early versus late. Valve cover gaskets, or a filter housing seal often land in the mid-hundreds. A rear main seal is pricier due to labor. Ignore the leak, spin a bearing, and you're staring at a rebuild or replacement in the $7,000 to $10,000 range on many modern engines.